When you think about immigration, you think about hope, you think about struggle, and sometimes real desperation. But every now and then you come across a situation that just doesn't add up. Today, we're going to talk about one of those puzzles, the growing problem of fake asylum claims coming from a country that, by every official measure, is perfectly safe. So is this just a desperate grab for a better life, or is it something far, far more damaging? So that brings us to the very heart of the issue, what our source material calls the safe country paradox. And believe me, this is the fundamental contradiction we really have to wrap our heads around to get what's going on here. And here it is, laid out plain as day. On the one hand, you've got the official designation. Nepal is a safe country of origin. We're talking no major wars, constitutional rights are in place. But then, look at this, an asylum application from someone from Nepal saying, my life is in danger if I go back. That's not just a difference of opinion. The source is clear. This is a fabrication, and a pretty dangerous one at that. So you gotta ask, right? If the danger isn't real, then what is? What's the real motivation here? Why would someone from a peaceful country go to these lengths? Well, to figure that out, we have to dissect this whole thing. Let's look at the anatomy of the deception, the strategy behind the lie. Okay, so our sources break this down into what they call the 4 pillars of the illusion. First up, you've got the legal maze. Basically, people are using asylum claims as a kind of shield when their other visas, like for school or work, are about to run out. Then there's the financial lure, and this is a big one. The pull of welfare systems, free housing, monthly cash, healthcare. It's a huge incentive. The third pillar is social fear. The thought of going back home a failure with nothing to show for it, that's a powerful, powerful fear. And last, you have the broker illusions. These are the smugglers and agents selling a complete fantasy, a promise of an easy life that just isn't real. And when you look at it this way, you can almost see why someone might be tempted. The standard legal route, it's tough, it's long. You need a high income, you gotta pass language tests. But that fake asylum claim, that red dotted line, it looks like a shortcut, right? A clever way to game the system. But here's the kicker. The source calls this a fatal shortcut. Why? Because it poisons the well. It makes authorities suspicious of everyone, including the genuinely skilled people who are trying to follow the rules. And that right there leads us to the first and honestly the most devastating consequence of all. Because make no mistake, this isn't a victimless crime. It creates this circle of suspicion that ends up hurting the people who need help the most. Think about it like this. The whole asylum system is a zero-sum game. There's only so much time, so much money, so many resources to help people. It's not an endless pot. So as you see here, every single fake file that gets thrown into the mix is like a heavy weight on the scales of justice. It's literally tipping the balance against a real victim. It's stealing resources, time, attention, a safe space from someone whose life actually is on the line. And the end result, it's absolutely brutal. When the people in charge have to sift through thousands of fake applications, they start to mistrust all of them. And that just destroys the chances for the people who are genuinely fleeing torture, the ones who could be killed if they're sent back. It's not just a metaphor. The lie literally murders the truth. Okay, so we've seen the damage to individuals. But let's pull back for a second because the follow-up from this goes way, way further. We're talking about a massive ripple effect, a blast radius that ends up tarnishing the reputation of an entire country. And you can see that ripple effect right here. It all starts with that single lie in the middle. The first ring, that's the genuine victims we just talked about. The next ring out, honest students, people needing medical care, their visa rejection rates start to spike. Then you get to the skilled workers, the professionals. Now they're all seen with suspicion. And that final outer ring, that's the damage to the whole nation's diplomatic reputation. So what does that look like in the real world? It looks like this. The devaluation of the passport. All that historical trust and credibility, gone. Immigration officials start looking at every applicant from that country as a potential fraud. And who gets hurt the most? The best and brightest students, the legitimate tourists. They're the ones who find the door slammed shut on opportunities they absolutely deserved. But let's go back to the person who filed that fake claim in the first place. Do they get away with it? Are they the winner in all this? Well, not so fast. The evidence shows that what they've really done is start a ticking time bomb for themselves. I mean, check out the sheer hypocrisy here. First, there's phase 1, the oppressed victim. To get their residency, they have to trash their own country, say it's a terrible, unsafe place. But then comes phase 2, the nationalist masquerade. Suddenly they're online, waving the flag, acting like the biggest patriot you've ever seen. They even take on leadership roles in community groups and, get this, travel back and forth to the dangerous homeland they supposedly fled from. But that lie, it traps them. It creates two prisons they can't escape from. First, there's the legal trap. As this hourglass shows, time is not on their side. A lie discovered 10, even 15 years down the road, it can still lead to having their residency yanked, facing huge fines, being deported, and getting blacklisted from Europe forever. And then there's the psychological prison. Can you imagine? Living every single day with that knot in your stomach, that constant fear of being exposed? So when you put it all together, the harm to real refugees, the damage to a whole nation's reputation, and the fraudster's own miserable fate, you see the real cost. It's a tiny, momentary gain for a huge, permanent loss. And this really sums it all up. Look at the trade-off. On one side, you have the short-term personal win, a single residency card. But on the other side, wow, the long-term collective damage is massive. An entire people getting blacklisted, a deep sense of national shame, and opportunities just gone for the kids and grandkids who come after. The source doesn't pull any punches here. This isn't some clever trick. It's basically an act of national self-sabotage. It cashes in the integrity of an entire community for one person's gain. So let's leave it with this final, really powerful thought from our sources. It's a sobering reality check, isn't it? That any future built on a foundation of lies, well, it's not really a future at all. It ends up burying everyone, the person who told a lie and the nation they came from.